Asia, delegate of Germany, delegate of Qatar, delegate of Philippines, delegate of the United States of America, delegate of Spain. Alright, thank you, delegates. Is there any motion on the floor at this point of time? Yes, delegate of Indonesia.
Testing. The delegate of Indonesia would like to raise a motion to open the debate.
Thank you, delegate of Indonesia. There has been a motion to open debate. We'll now be starting with the general speakers list. Are there any delegates wishing to place themselves on the general speakers list at this point of time? Please raise your placard high. Delegate of Indonesia, followed by delegate of the United States of America, followed by the delegate of Spain, followed by the delegate of Qatar. Delegate of Indonesia, you have 1 minute and 30 seconds from now. Please do note when you have 30 seconds left, hit twice, and when your time is up, we'll hit 3 times. Delegate of Indonesia, you have the floor.
Honorable Chair, distinguished delegates, the delegation of Indonesia approaches the topic of reducing plastic waste in developing cities with both humility and urgency. Indonesia's own cities, Jakarta, Surabaya, and many others are examples of how rapidly grown urban centers can be overwhelmed when plastic consumption outpaces infrastructure. When drains are clogged with discarded bags and packaging, ordinary rainfall can trigger dangerous floods. These impacts are not evenly shared. They fall first on low-income communities living beside canals, landfills, and informal dumping grounds. Indonesia does not claim to be a model. We recognize our past and present contribution to marine plastic leakage and urban mismanagement. That is precisely why we are strengthening collection and segregation, expanding community-based recycling initiatives, and taking steps to phase down problematic single-use plastics. But experience has shown that no city and no country can succeed in this isolation. Indonesia therefore calls on this council to treat the struggles of developing cities.
Thank you. Thank you, delegate of Indonesia. We'll now be inviting the delegate of the United States of America. You have the floor.
Honorable Chair and distinguished delegates, the mentions in addressing plastic waste is extremely high in consumption of single-use plastic. In fact, we cannot quickly reduce existing plastic waste on Earth. But we, as the USA, we can tackle it by transforming it into something more useful through recycling. As the world's third most populous nation, USA manages massive waste volume around 42 million tons per year. Through local innovation like West Bank, which have already recycled 5 until 6% tons annually across over 1,000 villages. Additional policy regulation are needed to ban single-use plastic and hold produce accountable for their plastic products, alongside cross-sector collaboration to foster an environmentally friendly culture. Thank you.
Thank you, delegate of the United States of America. How does the delegate yield?
Yield back to the chair.
All right, thank you.
Yes,
Thank you, delegate.
So if you have remaining time, you can sit down. If you have remaining time, you can yield back to the chair or give your remaining time to another delegate to speak.
for the GSL. So if you are given only 90 seconds and another delegate gives you the leftover time, let's say 30 seconds, that means you as a delegate will receive
Memory
2
penuh
minutes.
bang, video
Okay,
ini.
that's the scenario. Thank you, delegate of USA.
Delegate of Spain, you have the floor.
Honorable Chair, distinguished delegates, Spain views plastic was as a serious threat to our ocean and coastal communities. As a Mediterranean country, we have seen its impact on marine life and tourism. Spain supports reducing single-use plastic, improving recycling system, and promoting a circular economy. However, this issue requires international cooperation, not only national action. Spain calls on all nations to work together to protect our environment for future generations. Thank you. Back to the chair.
Thank you, Delegate of Spain. Are there any motions on the floor at this point of time? Are there any motions on the floor at this point of time? Delegate of Indonesia?
The delegate of Indonesia would like to raise a moderated caucus with the topic of Indonesia extended producer responsibility as a tool to reduce plastic waste at the source. For a speaking time of 5 minutes and each speaking time for 1 minute.
Delegate of Indonesia, could you repeat the topic?
Indonesia extended producer responsibility as a tool to reduce plastic waste at the source.
Thank you, Delegate of Indonesia. Are there any other motions on the floor at this point of time? Seeing there are none, we will now be voting on the motion suggested by the Delegate of Indonesia. Those in favor of this motion, please raise your placards high. Seeing that all have voted for this motion passes. We will now be moving into the moderated caucus for 5 minutes and 1 minute speaking time. Those Delegate of Indonesia, would you like to be the first or last speaker?
The first chair.
Thank you, Delegate of Indonesia. Are there any other delegates wishing to speak in this moderated caucus at this point of time? Please raise your placard high. Delegate of Qatar, followed by Delegate of Philippines, followed by the Delegate of United States of America, and lastly the Delegate of Spain. Thank you, delegates. We are now in a moderated caucus of 5 minutes. Delegate of Indonesia, you have the floor.
Honorable Chair, distinguished delegates, Indonesia supports extended producer responsibility as a key tool to reduce plastic waste at the source and cut emissions from unmanaged waste. As a developing archipelagic country, Indonesia faces rising plastic leakage and methane emission from landfills. EPR shifts responsibility to producers and importers to finance collection and recycling, easing the burden on cities and supporting climate targets under the Paris Agreement. However, EPR must be phased flexible and equitable, taking into account national circumstances and protecting small enterprises. Indonesia also stresses the inclusion of informal waste workers to ensure a just and effective transition. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you, Delegate of Indonesia. Delegate of Qatar, you have the floor.
Qatar fully supports Indonesia's commendable push for extended producer responsibility as a vital tool. We see EPR as a forward-thinking mechanism that drives innovation and sustainable practices, aligning perfectly with our own national vision for environmental sustainability and reducing material waste at its origin.
Delegate, you still have 35 seconds remaining.
I would like to yield back time to the chair.
Just an info, during moderated caucus, if you still have time, you can just end it there, say thank you. Okay. For yielding time, it is only available in general speakers list. Okay, so if you still have time in moderated caucus, it will end then and there. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Delegate of Philippines, you have the floor.
Honorable Chair and distinguished delegates, through EPR, producers are responsible for the plastic packaging they introduced into the market from producer post-consumer waste. Philippines believe that this policy encourages companies to reduce excessive packaging, use recycled materials, and invest in reuse and take-back system. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate of the Philippines. Delegate of the United States of America, you have the floor.
So delegates from USA, we do very supporting Indonesian program when talking about extended producer responsibility or APR. Because it's require corporation to fund 100% recycling chain starting with single-use plastic, bans efforts gradually. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate of the United States of America. Delegate of Spain, you have the floor.
Honorable Chairs, distinguished delegates, Spain's aim to discuss global cooperation to reduce plastic waste through limiting single-use plastic. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate of Spain. Seeing there is still time remaining of 1 minute in this moderated caucus, are there any other speakers wishing to take the floor at this point of time for this moderated caucus? Seeing there are none, we will now be moving back into the general speakers list. Before we call out the delegate of Qatar, are there any other delegates wishing to place themselves on the general speakers list? Just a side note to everyone, the general speakers list can never ever finish. It has to always have at least a few speakers left. Because the moment a general speakers list ends, meaning to say no country has any issue to talk about. So when no country has any issue to talk about, the council closes. So the general speakers list cannot end. You have to always keep adding countries to it. Right? Are there any delegates wishing to place themselves on the general speakers list at this point of time? Please raise your flag at time. Delegate of Germany, followed by the delegate of Indonesia. Thank you. Delegate of Qatar, you have the floor. Delegate of Qatar, from the general speakers list just now, you have the floor. Delegate of Qatar, would you like to take the floor? Would you like to move yourself down?
I would like to move myself down.
Thank you, Delegate. So, Delegate of Qatar, you will be speaking after the Delegate of Germany. Delegate of Germany, you have the floor.
Yes. Delegate of Germany would like to Delegate of Germany would like to discuss regarding the wider implementation of fund system that we have, and if there are any country are interested to collaborate with us to reducing plastic waste. And thank you.
Thank you, Delegate of Germany. How does the delegate yield?
I would like to yield my remaining time to Delegate of Qatar.
Thank you, Delegate of Germany. Delegate of Qatar, you have 2 minutes and 40 seconds from now.
Honorable Chair, distinguished delegates, Qatar recognizes that the challenge of plastic waste in developing cities is a global imperative, one that demands our urgent collective attention and innovative solutions. Our National Vision 2030 prioritizes environmental management and sustainable urban development. We believe that pragmatic, scalable solutions like investing in modern waste infrastructure and fostering public-private partnerships are attention to managing urban waste streams effectively. We encourage all nations to embrace technological innovation in waste sorting and recycling, transforming waste management from a mere necessity into an engine for green economic growth. We stand ready to collaborate and share expertise, ensuring that sustainable urban environments are not a privilege but a reality for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate of Qatar. How does the delegate yield?
I would like to yield the time back to the chair.
Thank you, Delegate of Qatar. Seeing there is one speaker left on the general speakers list, that is Delegate of Indonesia. Before we proceed, are there any other delegates wishing to place themselves on the general speakers list at this point of time? Are there any delegates wishing to place themselves on the general speakers list? Please be reminded that the general speakers list cannot be exhausted. Delegate of Germany. Are there any other delegates? Seeing none, before we move to Delegate of Indonesia, the chairs would like to open the floor to any motions at this point of time. Are there any motions on the floor at this point of time?
Specifically looking for an unmoderated caucus. Are there any motions on the floor?
Delegate of Germany.
Delegate of Germany would like to raise an unmoderated caucus for 10 minutes.
Thank you, Delegate of Germany. Are there any other motions on the floor at this point of time? Seeing there are none, we will now be voting on the motion for an unmoderated caucus requested by the Delegate of Germany. Those in favor of this motion, please raise your right hand. Thank you, delegates. Seeing that all the delegates have voted for this, we are now in a 10-minute unmoderated caucus, which will end at 3:38 p.m.
Alright, delegates, as you can see, we are now in an unmoderated caucus, okay? In an unmoderated caucus, nations will be discussing with each other whether they have perhaps solutions that they can work together or actions that they would like to implement. And if there are solutions, they will slowly form a block, okay? Now, when making a block, please do not at all costs make any sorts of pre-blocking. Pre-blocking means that you have made a block before the MUN conference has started. Okay? At any cost, do not make any sorts of pre-blocking because it is against the rules and it will harm your scoring matrix and your performance throughout the whole conference.